The terrible toll of Israel's war in Gaza passed another bleak milestone today as the Hamas-run health ministry there announced more than 10,000 Palestinians have been killed. The latest figure came on the eve of the one-month anniversary of the terrorist attacks that sparked war. More than 1,400 Israelis were killed and 240 were taken hostage. In retaliation, the IDF's declared mission to destroy Hamas stepped up today, marking what the military spokesman called a significant stage in the conflict. How many more stages are planned is unclear. But UN leaders were resolute. Enough is enough, they said, and their chief, Antonio Guterres, warned that Gaza is becoming a graveyard.
It's all freshly dug because it's a graveyard on the Gaza Strip. Keeping up is backbreaking and heartbreaking. There's no fuel for the excavators, there's no water to wash the dead, so it's nigh on impossible to afford them the dignity they deserve. What there is no shortage of is bodies requiring burial. Such is the demand, most go into mass graves. With the goal of divide and conquer, the Israelis have pummeled from the air and manoeuvred on the ground to the extent they have now cut the Gaza enclave in two. They are hoping that Hamas commanders and foot soldiers are hiding in the northern sector, which they have surrounded and are starting to squeeze.
How would you feel knowing that underneath the local hospital there are tunnels used for stockpiling weaponry?
The Israelis have repeatedly accused Hamas of basing themselves in tunnels and bunkers beneath the big hospitals inside Gaza City. But those medical centres have become a refuge for tens of thousands of people, and targeting them could mean a bloodbath. What happens next is unclear, but what has happened so far feels like just the prelude. Since this war began, the Israeli Defense Forces have attacked more than 11,000 different targets. And yet there's little to suggest that Hamas is close to being defeated, let alone destroyed. We don't know of any surrenders. The terror group's fighting force remains largely intact, and they continue to fire rockets at Israel. A bird's-eye view of the destruction explains why there's this ongoing movement of people from the heart of the war zone in the north to the relatively safer southern sector.
What we see
this afternoon, Israel's Prime Minister told foreign ambassadors that he's optimistic about this region after the victory he seeks.
We will offer the people of Gaza and the entire peoples of the Middle East a real future, a future of promise and hope.
However, families like this, relocating for the second time in search of safety, could be forgiven for wondering if they will ever live to see it. John Irvine, News at 10, Southern Israel.
Well, after 4 long weeks of bombing, the ground invasion may still be only in its infancy, with an even bloodier phase expected within days. Already, Israel's ground forces have advanced along the northwest coast of Gaza. In the central part of the Strip, it's reported that Israeli troops have now reached the west coast, essentially meaning that the region has been cut in two. Gaza City is completely encircled, with Israeli troops said to be preparing to enter in the next 48 hours.